If you're a chronic dieter and you've been dieting for years on end, constantly in a caloric deficit, your body is going to be pissed. Plain and simple. It's not going to react well. But the way it reacts is not what you might think. It's not going to hold on to fat to spite you. What's going to happen is it's going to learn to run on less and less calories. This is metabolic adaptation, aka you're burning less calories to do the same things throughout the day. How long does it take for muscle to turn to fat while I'm stuck at home? I live in a city and I really can't run outside right now. What kind of cardio can I do when I'm stuck inside? I have 100 euros to spend on gym equipment. What do you suggest I get? Hi. My name is Heather Walsh, aka HMay on YouTube. I am an accredited sports nutritionist with The Method Now, and I'm here to answer your questions. How do I eat healthy on a very tight budget without just eating pasta and cereal while I'm out of work? Perhaps a simple shopping list or a meal example. Cool. So, what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you pick 2 to 3 proteins, 2 to 3 carbs, 2 to 3 vegetables. Then I want you to add spices and condiments. This way, you don't have to actually buy that many things and nothing will be sitting in your fridge going bad. You can make a lot of different combinations with this. So every single day, pick a protein, pick a carb, pick a condiment. Stick it all together and you have a unique meal. You have many unique meals with all of the different combinations you can make. I have 100 euros to spend on gym equipment. What do you suggest I get? If you only have 100 euros, I suggest a few things. Number 1. Get a medium weight dumbbell or kettlebell. This doesn't have to be anything crazy. It should be something that you can use for several different things. Second, I would get a set of bands off Amazon. Something that has a few different types of resistance bands, a few different intensities that you can use for different things. You can get these for as cheap as like 10 bucks. Last, I would get a set of floor sliders. These are gonna help you do a lot of different things, and there's a million different videos on things that you can do with them to mix it up. How long does it take for muscle to turn to fat while I'm stuck at home? So muscle cannot turn to fat. It's physiologically impossible. That's just not how it works. But if you're asking how long it's gonna take for your muscle to go away, that is a different story. The biggest rule of thumb you can use is what gets used gets kept, right? So if your body is thinking that you need certain muscles because you're stimulating them, it's gonna hold on to that muscle mass. That's why resistance training is so valuable. So if you can continue targeting every muscle group, especially the ones that you're really worried about losing, you're not going to lose that muscle nearly as fast. This does have to be paired with a decent diet, right? So you do have to be getting your protein in, carbohydrates as well. These are gonna be protein sparing if you can't quite hit your protein goal. If you can, do exercises that really focus on time under tension. This means tempos on the way down on squats. Anything where you're holding a position a little bit longer, even through dynamic movement, is really gonna help you hold on to that muscle mass. I live in a city and I really can't run outside right now. What kind of cardio can I do when I'm stuck inside? So if you look at the recent videos under Tabata Songs, we have a ton of home workouts that you can do with all different types of athletes, all different types of setups. Most of these athletes aren't using any equipment whatsoever, and they're all working out in their living room. So I highly suggest you check out those videos. They're super helpful, and honestly, the workouts are really fun. I love watching your Tabata videos, but I don't have a lot of equipment. What do you suggest? So we actually have a recent video that there is just water bottles in use, which is really helpful. And again, we have a ton of videos out right now that people are just working out in their living rooms. No equipment needed whatsoever. Maybe you're using your couch or something, but tons where you don't need anything at all. I usually do a lot of heavy squatting and deadlifting. What do you suggest I do for these movements while I don't have much equipment to maintain my progress? So what you're gonna do here is a lot of isometric work in the positions that you're really weak in. This means bottom of your squat, slow it down. Any sort of explosive work is gonna be really great as well. Work on your power output, work on your jumps, work out on being explosive out of the movements that you're worried about. Any sort of jumps, any sort of sprints, anything like that is going to be really valuable for those sorts of movements, and you'll likely find that you're just fine on the way back. Please do remember that if you're not practicing with a barbell, you're going to feel weaker at that movement when you come back anyway. However, remember that it's probably just a little rusty technique-wise, and you likely didn't lose a whole bunch of strength there. Should I only eat carbs before and after my workouts? This is one I hear a lot. So, this is going to be highly individual. That's the biggest thing I can say. However, a more general answer. Before and after workouts, your meal should be based off of protein and carbs. This is ideal. You want to keep fat and fiber farther away from your workouts as a general rule. It doesn't mean it has to be 0, but quick carbs, quick protein, you're good to go. If you are an athlete, if you're working out in high intense situations, if you work out quite a bit, you are going to need more carbohydrates than just a few grams before and after your workout. Don't be afraid of carbohydrates, especially if you're some sort of athlete where explosiveness or high intensity intervals are going to be your bread and butter. I also want to put in there that your overall caloric intake is going to be way more important, especially aesthetic wise, than your macronutrient breakdown. Then your macronutrient breakdown over the entirety of the day is going to be more important than your meal timing. Your meal timing is only going to be important if everything else above it is really, really in place. So keep that in mind before you get too nitty-gritty with it. My goal is just to be healthy. Don't need strength or a six-pack. What are some general tips for staying healthy while spending all of my time at home? So this is a really good time to create habits, and this is what I've been telling all of my clients lately. Build habits now that you can sustain later when life does go back to normal. So habits like getting to bed on time and not using your screen while you're in bed, waking up and having water with lemon first thing, getting veggies in every single meal you eat, creating a 1 hour waking routine and a 1 hour nighttime routine. I would also say learn to cook as many sustainable, healthy meals as you possibly can. Something that you can go back to when life does get busier and you may not have as much time to learn, but they can become your new staples and your diet will be a little bit more fun. What are the best exercises to do with Tabata intervals? So Tabata is 20 seconds of intense movement followed by 10 seconds of rest. So the movements that are going to be best for this are something that you can do at a high intensity. A general rule of thumb is that if the 8th interval is really, really easy, you're likely not pushing hard enough. So simple movements like running, rowing, biking, anything like that is going to be great. You also have, squats, your sit-ups, any movement that you can kind of perform at a high rate and high intensity is going to be really, really great. If you need more ideas, there's going to be a link below for 30 free home Tabata workouts. Definitely check that out. I can't be as active as I normally am right now. How should my diet change so that I don't gain weight? This is a question that I've gotten so many times, and I want to start this off by saying most importantly, you don't have to earn the right to eat through movement. You need to eat regardless. If you are waking up and you're alive, you need food. So don't use this as an excuse to completely slash your calories in half or anything like that. If you are literally getting out of bed, you're burning calories. So don't slash your calories down to something crazy, crazy low. That being said, you normally work out 5 hours a day and now you're barely moving, of course you are going to adjust a little bit. How I would figure this out if you do not have a coach or nutritionist that you're working with is trial and error. So maybe decrease by 100 calories or so. You don't need to decrease by much. See how your weight reacts. If you're gaining weight, drop it a little bit lower. If you're maintaining or losing, you can eat a little bit more. Don't adjust this without giving it a little bit of time. If you give it 2 days and all of a sudden you eat too much salt and the scale spikes, that doesn't mean you need to drop down 500 calories. Try to take a non-extreme approach and be very reasonable with yourself. And also, the most important thing, if you gain a few pounds, it's okay. None of us have ever done this before. This is a crazy time. If you come out of quarantine and the worst thing that happens to you is that you gain 5 pounds, you're probably in a pretty good spot. I'm trying not to buy meat, chicken, etc. How do I get my protein in? So I have a really good list of vegetarian proteins and how much is in it, and I will put that below for you. I've heard that if I'm stressed out, I won't lose weight. Is there any truth to this? So this is a really deep question, but I'm gonna try to answer it as simply as I possibly can. If you're a chronic dieter and you've been dieting for years on end, constantly in a caloric deficit, your body is gonna be pissed, plain and simple. It's not going to react well. But the way it reacts is not what you might think. It's not gonna hold on to fat to spite you. What's going to happen is it's going to learn to run on less and less calories. This is metabolic adaptation, AKA you're burning less calories to do the same things throughout the day. This is going to look like not fidgeting as much, maybe not having as high of a sex drive. Little things like that are considered non-essential are going to go away. Your body down-regulates the amount of calories you use so that it can survive, because your body doesn't know that you're doing it on purpose. It assumes that there's famine and it assumes that you can't eat. So it adapts to survive. My biggest suggestion here is to spend some serious time at maintenance or even go into a little bit of a surplus, then go back into a diet after you've done that for quite some time. Even on top of that, I don't suggest dieting more than 1 to 2 times per year for more than 12 to 16 weeks. At that point, it's a little bit unnecessary and you have to start to ask yourself why you feel the need to do that so often, and maybe talk to someone about, how you've been going for the past few years. Is this a pattern? Things like that are a little bit beyond the scope of a nutritionist. If you ever feel like you are so stuck in the dieting cycle, you definitely should talk to a professional because they can help and they can really make things better. Again, my name is H May on YouTube. My name is Heather Walsh. I love doing this for you guys. If you guys want another one of these videos, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, leave them below. I'll be on answering. Bye guys.